other day, and they never...
From Ohio, Mr. Jordan, I would ask the gentleman if he would yield very briefly to the chair. I thank the gentleman for yielding. General Lynch, we are now about halfway through the members of this committee asking questions, and your refusal to answer questions regarding one of the most important investigations of someone who seeks to serve in the highest office in this land is an abdication of your responsibility. This is a very important issue of whether or not the Justice Department is going to uphold the rule of law in this country, and I hope that with the questions that will be forthcoming now, you will be more forthcoming with answers. Thank you. Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Lynch, who made the decision that no charges would be brought against Secretary Clinton?
Congressman, with respect to that decision, I had determined that I would accept the recommendation of the team.
So
I made that known.
Who ultimately made the decision?
I made that known, and then when the recommendation was given to me, I did accept that recommendation.
So did you ultimately make that decision, or did Director Comey?
Well, Director Comey was part of the team.
Who ultimately made the decision?
So the team consisted of prosecutors and agents. That did include Director Comey,
I want
but
to know
there
where
were
the buck
others.
stops. Who made the decision?
As I indicated before, I had previously decided that I would accept their recommendation when they made it to
So
me.
are you saying
Did
you made the
accept their
decision?
recommendation.
Are you saying you made the decision?
I had previously indicated I would accept their
Okay,
recommendation.
so on July
and I
1st, let's just run through that. On July 1st, you said, I'll accept the recommendations of the FBI. Mr. Comey didn't announce his decision until July 5th, and he said that he didn't talk to you beforehand. Now, I assume it's not unusual for the Attorney General to accept the recommendations of the FBI and the career prosecutors and the team, as you've so often cited. What is unusual is to make a big, bold public announcement that you're going to do it. It's one thing to do it. I assume it happens all the time. It's another thing to announce ahead of time you're going to do it. So here's what I'm having trouble with, and I guess a lot of people are having trouble with. If you commit and announce that you will abide by the FBI's decision before they even finish their investigation, then how can you also say ultimately it was your decision?
Well, Congressman, as I've indicated, I accepted their recommendation. I had indicated.
So are you, what I want to know is, was it not your
I
decision,
would
or was
accept
it your
it.
decision? Because it seems to me you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I'm the Attorney General and I decide, but yet I'm going to take their recommendations even before they make their recommendations.
I had indicated that I would be accepting their recommendation because I wanted to make it clear that any conversation that I might have had with the former president would have no impact on the team or the review
Ever do this
or the
before? You
investigation.
ever do this before?
I have not had occasion to do that before, but I felt it was important
So you've
in
never
this case.
announced before an investigation is done that whatever they come up with, maybe they're going to screw it up, who knows? You've never announced before that whatever they recommend, I'm going to follow. Never happened
It was
before.
important in this case to do so.
So this is the first time you've ever done that. Announced beforehand, I don't care what their recommendations are, I'm going to, by golly, I'm going to follow them.
I have complete faith in the judgment and the hard work of
I'm
the
not
team.
questioning whether you have faith in them. I think probably a lot of people have faith in the FBI in a lot of situations. I don't know that they agree with them here, but I think you have faith in a lot of times. What I'm questioning is why announce ahead of time? When you've never done it before, why announce ahead of time, I'm going to follow their recommendations, even though I don't know what they are, and still claim you're the ultimate decider?
Well, as I indicated, I felt it was important to express my role in the investigation, to clarify my role, because I was concerned that the conversation I had with the former president would make people think that there could be some influence
So that
there.
was the trigger.
That, in my view, was something that needed to be clarified. I felt that people needed to understand
So
my role
you've never
in
done this before, but
And
when
that-
you
and that they
have a
needed to have that,
conversation with the former
information.
president, the husband of the subject of an ongoing investigation, and you have that conversation before they've interviewed the subject and before they've reached their recommendations and finished their investigation, that's what triggered you to do this thing you've never done before, which is announce, I don't care what they recommend, I'm going to follow it.
My concern was that the conversation that I had with President Clinton would be seen by some as having an influence over that. I felt it was important to clarify
Just some, General
my
Lynch, a
role
lot
in
of
this.
people.
And I felt it was important to clarify that even before I had landed in Phoenix, I had
here's
made
what
that
I think-
decision.
here's what I
And
see
I felt it
happening
was
here.
important that people hear that from me.
Here's what I think is, I think your actions made it worse. I really do. I think a lot of people already think that there are two systems, as many have talked about, one for we the people, a different one, entirely different one for the politically connected. Your former Secretary of State, your former Senator, your former First Lady, your nominee for President, your husband meets with you 5 days before a decision is announced. Different standard for those facts, and you proved it. You demonstrated that it's different by your actions because you said you've never done this before, so you not only You changed your internal practices. You changed the fact that you've never announced beforehand that you're going to follow recommendations before you even have the recommendations. Your actions contribute to this belief that the system is rigged. And that, you made a bad situation worse by saying, I'm going to do whatever they recommend, even though I don't know what the recommendations are. I don't know anyone who would conduct themselves that way when they're the ultimate decider. But you said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to do whatever they said. I'm not even going to wait to see what they're recommending. I'm going to follow it. You showed that this case was different, and the law is supposed to treat every single person the same. And your announcement, by definition, made this thing entirely different. And then, of course, what was ultimately decided made it entirely different as well. I yield back.